everyone, how are you doing today? My name is Karina and welcome back to Ready Set Pan. Today I'm going to be doing my next update for my Use Those Eyeshadow project, which is going to allow me to work my way through my collection, test stuff, love stuff, declutter stuff, basically get to know my eyeshadows because it's grown because of BoxyCharm and I need to know what to do with my eyeshadow collection. So this is a project where I randomize 3 different eyeshadows at a time. I want to use that eyeshadow 10 times and then I'll roll it out. And of course, for example, if it came from this palette, generally I would reach into this palette for the entire look. I don't cross dip just because that's not my style of doing eyeshadow. There are a couple exceptions where it's like this palette, for example, it's missing like a lid setting shade, so I will reach into a different palette. I've got a palette of just mattes that I will reach into for that, but otherwise I stick with that palette. Now this is an exciting update. I mean, they're always exciting because I always try to have at least one thing rolling in and out, but I have met my goal on 2 items, so let's just dive into what I've been working on, what I've been able to achieve. We'll have the progress videos. Again, I try to use my pans down evenly, so it's not the most exciting, but I'm pretty excited. So let's dive into it. We're going to keep going with this palette here. This is from Huda Beauty, the Mercury Retrograde palette. I've got a couple of shades that have been rolled into projects, including this one. I've been working on the shade Gold Glitch, so I am super thrilled about this particular one. It's just, I love this palette. It's a spring palette, but I do really enjoy it. As you guys know, last month I actually did hit pan in Mercury, which was super exciting, but I haven't used it since then. This is Gold Glitch, so this is where I am at now. So we'll get a video, of course, so you can see it better. I only needed 2 more uses to reach my goal of 10 uses. I use it 10 times. I use it 2 times, bring me to my 10 use goal, so I get to roll it out. I feel like, I don't know, maybe not that close to hitting pan, but it's really good in terms of like the inner third. That's where I tend to prefer to wear that shade all over the lid. So it's really good. I do enjoy this palette and we get to roll in something new. I've also been working on some smaller palettes. So we've got the Natasha Denona. This is their 5 eyeshadow palette in Anya. So I have been working on the shade Crease. So this is a palette that I would use all 5 of these together. I think there were a couple exceptions when I did like just those 4 together. And then maybe I did that set once. But anyway, I'm working on Crease. As of the last update, I needed 7 more uses on it. I've reached for it 7 times and I've met my 10 use goal. So this is what the palette looks like now. You can see, especially on these 2, there's actually some decent movement on it. But of course, Crease is the matte. So it looks like it got like there's brush strokes in there. You can see across this entire palette, it does look used. And I'm trying to remember if this was brand new last time or not. If it wasn't, it was just a couple uses in. So I like that this palette actually looks used. I have enjoyed reaching for it. It's been really good for like this fall time season. It would be a good winter palette. Like this is really good and it's Natasha Denona. So I've been definitely enjoying it. But I have met my 10 use goal, and so I am going to roll this out. Which brings me to the little palette that's left. So I do have the full-size retro palette, but this is a little mini that came in a Sephora Favorites kit, I want to say. This is the Natasha Denona retro palette. So this was brand new last time, absolutely. I had not reached into this yet, and I had randomized the shade Amara. So it was brand new last time. This is what my palette looks like now, and it is the palette I'm wearing today. Basically, transition crease area, outer corner, and all over the lid. And of course, inner corner highlight is coming from a highlighter too. So I've managed to only use this one 3 times so far, including today's look. So I am enjoying it, but obviously I'm very early into it. So this is going to be staying in the project. All right, this color really does not want to swatch, you guys, but that's the color I'm working on. And of course I use this entire palette together. So this shade is going to stay in. We've got the start of a nice fall palette, even though again, I use them all separately. But now it's time to roll stuff in, which is the exciting part. And we get to roll in 2 eyeshadows today. I'm very excited. However, over the next month, I think I'm going to be putting a little bit more focus on eyeshadows and other projects. So of course I will still have something to roll out next month in this project. That's always the goal. But just so you guys know, even before I roll in, that's kind of my intention at this point. So we're going to pull up my Pretty Random app. I am so excited. We get to roll in 2 new shades. And the first shade is going to be 333. And the second shade is going to be 105. Alright, you guys, I am back. I have pulled the 2 new palettes. I have not looked at shades yet, but we have a palette I've never even used before, and a palette that I think it's been in this project before. But we've got 2 new palettes to play with, so let's dive into it. So these are both BoxyCharm palettes, of course, and the shade number 333, of course, these numbers are always changing with decluttering, moving, like adjusting things, all of that fun stuff. But that currently corresponds with my Rem Beauty palette. This is their baby doll palette. So this has 8 grams of eyeshadow, a little bit more travel sized, and the palette looks like this. So it is more of your everyday neutral palette. Oh, we don't have any names or anything, so I had to do a quick Google search. So this is what the palette looks like. I rolled in the shade Sun Baby, which is this one right here. So look at a video so you guys can actually see what that looks like a little bit better. But this is definitely one of the lid colors that I would be using. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay, let's get into this, you guys. Oh my goodness. It always feels weird swatching something for the first time, but... Alright, so this is like your standard bronzy kind of color. So there it is right there. This is obviously a very basic, everyday kind of palette, a little bit more on the warm tone side, which, again, it's fall. It's going to work really well for it. So that is going to be my second shade rolling in. So hopefully it's not too orangey is my only concern. The last shade I'm going to be rolling in, number 105, comes from my Lunar Beauty Nude Prism palette. I have not played with this palette for a little while, so I'm excited to have it back in. And again, this is your kind of standard neutral palette. It's got this wonderful row of all these fun lid shades, and you got tons of mattes. And I rolled in the shade So Icy, which I assume, yep, it is this one right here. So obviously this is a palette that has gotten some pretty good use. I'm pretty sure Vibes was the shade, this shade here. I had rolled into a project before, then I've also, I think I've done No Pan Left Behind on this palette, and I've used it. So Icy does have some use, as you guys are able to see. This honestly is going to be probably an inner corner highlight color, and it might even be like an inner third color as well, kind of depending on the looks I go. Because I have Sun Baby in this project, I'm probably going to avoid like this part of the palette here and focus more on these lighter, a little bit more cool toned, rosier kind of shimmers. Gosh, this is so good. Like, I just barely put my finger into that. Oh my gosh. Okay. So between these 3, this is probably the best formula, you guys, honestly. Oh, isn't that amazing? And for December, like, that's gonna be such a good color for December. It doesn't really go with these other 2, but again, that's fine. I use them individually. Oh my gosh, that is going to be so good for holiday. So I'm probably going to put much more focus on that in December. And again, I'll be focused on other eyeshadows. That is the new color story. I'm pretty excited about a lot of it. What I'm thinking in terms of my goals for next month, obviously Amara, I want to get my remaining 7 uses on. And I do want to get at least a good idea of the Rem palette, because honestly, and I have debated this before, but it was new and I want to play with it, and it's just, like, it is a very basic color story. It is very travel appropriate. It is a more on the warm tone side. So this project almost serves for this item to be on the chopping block for me to make a decision of how does this perform? How do I like it compared to other neutral palettes I have in my collection? I could be decluttering this one next month, or I could be in love with it and keeping it. So hard to know where it's going to go, but for sure this is going to roll out, and then based on my decision with the chopping block palette, this could be out or it could be staying in. So we'll have to see how that one goes. And yeah, I'll get a little bit of use on this, but definitely over the holidays, which will be after my next update in this project. So I'll probably try to reach for this one 2 times, maybe 3 times, but oh, that's going to be so good, you guys. So I'm very excited about what I've rolled in, what I get to play with, how this month is going, and let's just make some progress on eyeshadows. So that's going to wrap up today's update. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give a big thumbs up. Let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments below. Subscribe so you don't miss my next update, because these videos kind of go up a little bit sporadically in a general-ish time frame. And I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video very soon. Have a wonderful day.